to my dear friend Ilya. So, dear Ilya, what are you going to say about, evolution of the stone, even in terms of human?
Yes, it might be the first material that people discovered was stone. And stone is better for making sharpened edge only and only functional. But if we speak about first stone, it's the links between function and shapes and texture. But even we see to this hand axis in this photo, we see the first hand axis. They have a symmetrical culture that found in Ethiopia in Africa. It's about 1.5 million years old. And this first things that made by people that have features of design. It's maybe the first, the birth of design era, because they have the symmetry, they have symmetrical, rhythmical texture, the proportion that is the first step for design. And we don't know how they feel having enhanced these things. If it was a statical view or not a statical view, and we don't know they found it static or not it have, because it wasn't the sapiens, it was habilis, the previous of Homo sapiens kind of people that only make stone tools, but we don't know about fine art and about other artificial things that made of these people. And maybe the design burned just before the fine art, a million years ago before the fine art. And the structure is the first stop of stone creation. And we have a lot of questions on the evolution of people, relations between stone and man, and even about sculpture. But it's a question, because long ago, during classic antiquity, and not long ago from our times in medieval times, people made sculptures but painted it. But now we see on the marble, like in this exhibition, to see its structure, its texture, is specific of stone. But during long times, the people don't need it. Even the five Neolithic figurines, Cycladic idols, for example, that we know that they were painted, like in medieval age too. It's maybe a question, but where is the people imagination of stone? Maybe in architecture, but not in sculpture. And this is an example how they painted as Russian matryoshka, the classic sculptures and medieval sculptures. And speaking about stone, it have more functions during a long period. It's a function of information storage. The rocks as a medium. It's a lot of examples of rock arts. And we know about 12 million of petroglyphs of rock arts placed around the world, in America, in South America, in Africa, in Asia, in Australia, in Europe too. And here is examples from Valcamonica, Italy's famous place for European petroglyphs, and Bayankol, Tuva Republic in between Russia and Mongolia. It's a little part of Russia, where also we see the petroglyphs that translate narratives. But it's a good idea to use petroglyphs in architectural design. This is an example from St. Petersburg, where I came from. It's a conservation and storage center of State Hermitage Museum. And in some years ago, they formed the facade of this building with the petroglyphs in Onega Lake, near from St. Petersburg, from northern parts. It may be also narratives, but narratives translate to common people, to people who live in St. Petersburg, who come to St. Petersburg, that we are from north of Russia, special places here. And other function of stone is monumental function. It's marked the physical space and social space. And stones usually divide the people who are dead and the people who are still alive. And it's interesting when we have have to see to monumental graves, monumental buildings that built in stone. But around it, people live in wattle and daub construction and wooden construction houses, and it's not links with eternity, the long process there, timelessness, and it's a doors to another world. On another side, only stone used to mark the boundaries. And this is an example of Neolithic menhir in Portugal. But we also see some menhirs that tell us in Ukrainian steppes, for example, in Tuva, where the tradition in South Siberia, this tradition links with Neolithic people, and the last link with Turkish people that live in Siberia now, for example, Tuvinians, Circassians, and other Turkish people, Tatars, as previously said. And it's a marking of boundaries, but it's also inviolability of boundaries that is a symbol of markers.
Marking the territories.
Yes.
Marking
Marking boundaries.
Like tombstones, right? I mean,
Yes.
tombstones are a very specific
Yes,
example.
it's the same. It's a lot of stelas in all the steps and other areas, like in Portugal, menhirs. Okay, and think about stone. The value of stone is fragmentation. It can be broken. But if we say about stone tools and we say about sculptures, with the time it was broken. But these fragments can be generated. And like in this illustration, during the medieval people around Rome, they collect pieces of stones from classic antiquity and use this as an element of architectural design. But this way is to find new meanings for broken stones and to organize, to find a new narrative, a new story, what after this sculpture's death was broken. And speaking about stone, stone in history, the relation of stone of people, we usually find new different essence and meanings It's this process of understanding of stone looks like Ranji rock garden in Japan. When we see this garden, we don't see some stones that included, and not to see all when make relaxation and thinking about the meanings and thinking about stone and life and timelessness, for example. Thank you. Maybe it's all. Okay.
Oh, thank you, dear Ilya. I mean, that was a nice start. Now I'm happy that I started with Ilya. Because, I mean, he started with an extension for utility, for our limitation, like a kind of a stone piece of rock to defend ourselves for survival. So it was started like an extension to our limitation and ability. And then it turned out to be an environmental piece. And then it ended perfectly, a search for meaning. I mean, so that was a nice
and gives them
beginning.
Gives stones new meanings.
Yes, and
it's a process, but
that's a very good point to now talk about this environmental issue, how the stone turned out to be meaningful in our environments, right? Mm-hmm. So, dear Despina, the stage is yours.
Thank you very much.
Don't forget to introduce yourself like he did.
I will.
Okay.
I will do that.
Okay.
Don't worry.
Super. Thank you, Ilya, for the wonderful introduction to this theme and the great meaning about stones in architecture. My name is Despina Zavraka. I come from Thessaloniki. I'm an assistant professor in the School of Architecture in Aristotle University. And my area of expertise is architectural design and public space. I have a deep interest in the meaning of nature in architectural design and ways of correlating between natural and urban environments. So the topic of the very brief discussion today is marble surfaces, eternal publics. I will be discussing some images from different projects and try to interlay some references to history of architecture and theory of architecture, but very briefly. So allow me to go through these three different arguments in our discussion today. The first has to do with a reference that comes from the past, not as old as the ones that you have been discussing, Ilya. It's about the shift from wood to stone in architecture. My second point is a brief discussion on some experimentations of materiality in architecture, and I will be briefly showing an image of an installation that is relevant to that. And finally, I will be closing with a couple of images from a project about a linear quarry park in a small village in northern Greece. So, in his third chapter of the story of art, as we are usually being taught through the Western aspect of architecture and history of architecture and history of art, in his third chapter, Gombrich is talking about the Great Awakening. He is discussing architecture, and not only, between 7th and 5th century BC, and he's talking about the shift from wood to stone. So he's very eloquently discussing the very important shift in architecture that people stopped using wood for temples and they start using stone. So maybe this could be a vision of the ceiling of a temple. You can see wooden beams and straws laid over those, but wood does not last long. So this shift of reimagination of natural elements into stone and marble is a great shift in architecture. This is a photo, a detail from the archaeological site of Delphi. And the reason I'm using that in this discussion today is that we can see a tree trunk, and all these laid stones from archaeological buildings, of archaic buildings around. That's enough with the history of architecture, and moving to the second point, the second argument, that is basically an experimentation of material in architecture. So I'm referencing to Ruskin, who is a theoretician of architecture and has written loads about what stone means in architecture. Himself, he had a great collection of rocks coming from different subsoils, from golden rocks to marble, stones, and
Even precious stones as well.
Precious stones as well, but also non-precious stones. And he was talking, exactly, and he was talking about the natural process and the meaning that the soil and earth has in architecture, in his own words. So there is a very interesting article on his record of stones at the AA files of 73, and then his very interesting study on the transitions between Byzantine architecture and Gothic architecture, especially in buildings of Venice. So the reason I'm referencing that is to see that, to talk about the idea of form and the idea of element in architecture. And the image that is coming after is a series of small models. It is students of architecture and landscape architecture experimenting with different materials. Materials such as stone, soil, cement, charcoal, any kind of material that could be found on Earth, and try and create a structure out of it, not being at all using program, but just experimenting with materiality. So these are some of those models that traveled for an installation. It's in the Tallinn Architecture Biennale a few years back. And moving to my third part, and hopefully I am not very late, it is a linear quarry park. It is a small village in the northern part of Greece. It is near a city that is called Drama, with loads of quarry parks around, sites of extraction, marble extraction. There's a very interesting subsoil there. So in a communication with the local community there, and together with my distinct colleague, Anastasios Stelios, we designed a linear quarry park that is more like a monument in memoriam to the dead marble workers, the people that died trying to extract marble from these sites. So this was a proposal for that, and using a photo of the quarries around, and it is a small village of about a few hundred inhabitants, but this is a linear site just along the road that people pass by going to and from their houses, and the idea of creating all these different balconies out of marble, and the seats and the walls behind that could have niches and engraved names of all the people from the village that died during their work in the marble quarries. So trees and vertical and linear elements of marble to memorize all these people that have been dedicated their life to this activity. And this is a view from above. Finally, I'm just closing this very brief discussion, sharing with you 3 different images of surfaces that have been designed by different materials. The first one we see on my left-hand side, and your left-hand side too, is a historical urban axis in the city of Thessaloniki that starts from the upper parts of the hillside and going towards the seafront. And this is a part of this axis that it was a competition project to redesign the whole surface and the urban surroundings. So many Byzantine monuments are clicking on this axis, and the idea of designing a contemporary mosaic that could be using different types of stones and materials that have been historically used in the architecture of Thessaloniki through different ages. So based on a mapping of different sentimental uses and land uses on this axis, like I want to sit there, I want to be there, I want to hide, I want to meet somebody, I want to admire the monument. So after a mapping of this whole axis, we try to translate these mappings of ours into different materials. And this is a mosaic that has small tiles of stone, ceramic, marble, used in different shapes, circular, rectangular, square, and some of those start sticking out of the ground in order to create the infrastructure for this public space. The second one to the right is a view from above. It is a part of the port of Thessaloniki that used to have a complex of stables, deserted, derelict buildings. But it was interesting because of those buildings being deserted, there were many materials being dumped there. Parts of old cranes, old stones that have not been used in the buildings, bricks, old goods from ships, etc. So we are trying to retranslate all these different materials to a new setting of surface that could retranslate materials that are sitting there and are very important to the city. And finally, on the bottom, a small glimpse of a competition project for an art complex in South Korea, in the city of Sancheon, that is trying to re-envision a new surface as a roof that is using different materials and holes as a constellation of stars that could be lying over these different art rooms. So that's from me, and I'm passing the floor to...
Thank you. I recently noticed that the ladies standing next to me, one is from Greek, and the other one is from Italy. And Anatolia, our country, has more Hellenic ruins than Greece and more Roman ruins than Italy. I mean,
Yes.
this is a sign that, in fact, these two cultures, I mean, the Greeks and Italians and the Romans, in fact, they glorified stone and marble in history. And you mentioned a little bit of this glorification. I'm sure Marinella, representing very intelligent and, I mean, very knowledgeable in terms of design, she's going to reflect the glorification of natural stone and marble in an Italian way.
Yes, maybe the reposition.
Let's see. I will control. I don't trust
as
you.
you want.
Should we give
First
you
of
the
all,
time?
good afternoon. And it's a pleasure to be here today and contribute to this discussion. And in particular, to the shift from material over design to design over material,
Yes.
as you said. I would like to approach my presentation. I'm a professor of design at the Politecnico di Milano, and I'm the head of a group of researchers that work on the relationship between materials and design. So we try to develop, to understand and develop approach such as material-driven design, but at the same time, design-driven material innovation. That is more the topic of my topic of the day. So I would like to approach this topic from a very pragmatic perspective, because marble clearly belongs to the natural material and natural stones. But today, in real project, it is evaluated alongside many other material options, like engineered surfaces, composites, high-performance artificial materials. And these competitors are fast, more predictable, more standardized, easier to control, and often cheaper. Marble cannot and should not compete on those terms alone. But it's important to know its strength that lies on uniqueness, variability, renovability, reusability, cultural and aesthetic depth. So the opportunity for the marble sector is to turn this quality into competitive advantages and not limitation. So the question is how can marble remain relevant and competitive in this expanded material landscape? In my view, and the view of the material culture of Italian design, the answer lies in a shift in mindset of the producer, from thinking of marble as a material to think of marble as a platform for design-driven material innovation. And this is exactly the transition from material over design to design over material. This means that design should be understood as a strategic driver, not simply as something that shapes material at the end of the process. When integrated early, design define how marble can be used beyond its traditional applications, how can it perform, not just appear, and how it create value. For example, moving from labs to system, surfaces, integrated solution, developing custom or limited application, collaborating with designer as long partners and not only occasionally. This is where marble stop being a product and become a platform for innovation. A similar transformation happened at the moment within the design culture. Today, marble is a medium that enables experience. It's not longer a material that you see or touch simply. It becomes part of a broader experiential system. It can be interactive with the light, define the atmosphere of a space. It can influence acoustic, integrated sensor or response to the system, and contribute to tactile, acoustic, and visual qualities. We already see this in practice. For example, this company Salvatori, repositioned the natural stone through surface design, transforming it into a textured system that create light, effect, shadows, spatial identity. The material is no longer just a finish, it becomes part of an experience. Similar Lithos design has developed modular stone surface that work almost like architectural devices, combining geometry, other qualities, light, repetition, to generate an immersive environment. And company like Litea, or Litea in English, so even further, combining craftsmanship, advanced processing, and design culture to create highly customized, normative-driven stone application, where the value lies in this, not in the slab itself, but in design outcomes. In this transformation, for sure, technology play a crucial role. Digital design, CNC, machining, and robotic fabrication allow us to optimize material usage, reduce waste, explore new geometry and application, develop new aesthetics. Design with the support of technology allow company to rethink what marble can do and to extend its capability. Technology enable material innovation, transformation marble in an active component of the user experience. This is what we mean by design-driven material innovation. It happens at the intersection of material, design, and technology. You can see other images from Litea inspired by Mediterranean territories and landscapes. To conclude, the future of marble does not depend on competing with artificial material at the same level. It depends defining its role through design, from material to experience, from resources to strategy, from passive element to active component, from product to interface. The real question is not which material is better, but rather which material is able to create more value, more meaning, and more experience through design. I can show some other images, but maybe these are more related to environmental issue and sustainability, because there are also many designs that work on that to reduce the use of marble with technology support that to support this. Thank you, John. And thank you.
Oh,
This
well, thank
contribution
you.
also.
Thank you.
Please.
Just on time. Yes, I mean, we are hoping to have a second round, and this is going to be the last in terms of the first round. The people next to me are not foreigners to me at all. I mean, Tespina, she's a neighbor. I mean, and we share a lot more than the things that divide us. I mean, Ilya, he's from St. Petersburg, close to me more than anyone else. I mean, compared to the people around me. But the guy you are going to listen to me, I mean, he is also part of this fair for too long, right? I mean, he's a member of, I mean, except Espina, all the others are also the member of the jury of the the design competition for years. And dear Mihao, we got COVID together in this fair, like in 2020, right? I mean, we got in the elevator and we got COVID together. So we are COVID brothers with him. And what he's going, he's the serious guy among us women.
Oh.
He's going to talk about, he's going to take us to the second round, maybe. I mean, yes, we have seen what we have done with the natural stone, with the marble, but we started where we are. And he is going to bring about his own view in terms of what are we doing with this material? I mean, in terms of future, in terms of, and how we should treat in terms of, as designers, I mean, is it another material like wood, like metal, like plastic, or is it something different in that sense? The stage is yours.
Thank you very much. As you said, my name is Michał Stefanowski. I'm head of design department at the Academy of Fine Arts in Warsaw, Poland. And I'm also practicing designer, so still I have experience with materials. And the title of this speech, there is a word changes. And we are going to talk about changes. And there was tremendous change in the education of design. When I was educated, nobody was talking about environment and environmental issues. Absolutely. About technology, we were treating the resources as eternal resources. And okay, people were important, technology was important, but resources, we didn't think about it. Right now, I think we realize that resources are not eternal, all resources. And some of them are less eternal than others, but we have to consider it all the time. We start any kind of design. And one of these issues is examined during the competition, the results you can see behind the scene, that one of the most important issues for jury judging this competition is sustainability. It's not the only one, of course, but it is. It was not probably at the first edition of the competition, but right now it is obvious. It became obvious. And my experience as designer is not linked with stones. So I became kind of expert of stone thanks to this competition. And I got big knowledge thanks to that, of course. But my experience is with different materials. So, but I don't think it's very big difference between the attitude is the most important. So I can tell you the two stories from my experience regarding the approach to materials. One, I learned a lot. I met one designer in Britain designing goods out of leather. And they showed us how they approach to the process of design. They showed us the piece of leather from the cow, the whole leather from the cow, like a map. There was a map shown on the screen. And first they draw on that map the piece of leather which will be used for design of sofa. And then there was some left. So there was a piece of leather used for armchair. Then smaller for the chair. Then smaller for the bag. And then smallest for the pins, jewelry, whatever, small elements. And then, so the whole map was used. There was very little remnants were there. So it was a big lesson for me. It was designed approach for the material. So I think it is also possible somehow with stone, not one-to-one, because this was two-dimensional thing. Stone is three-dimensional, but this way of thinking should be considered by each designer, I think, approaching any kind of material. And with stone, of course, with the future, with the mass production, the natural materials will be more and more precious and should be more and more respected. Some of them you can get back, you can produce somehow with stones, you use it, and it disappears, so it's not anymore. What I can tell you is I'll say something before. It is known that there will be change of way of selling goods. For instance, Stellantis car company changed his policy of selling cars. Instead of having a lot of car dealers with their rooms, smaller, bigger, their policy, long-lasted policy, is based on the online selling and building very few but very, very well-equipped showrooms. So these showrooms will be excellent, and they may be filled with excellent materials, excellent goods, excellent technology, but it's unique. So I think it's regarding materials, it's precious. This is precious material, precious place. You can feel it. So in that case, it makes sense. But I can tell you a story from my life. Professor Zawraka was telling about that stones were predeceased by wood. And I'm coming from the country where we do have some quarries and we do have some stones, but it's not the most important issue. I'm from a country where there's a lot of woods, and we are producing furniture and other goods of wood, and we're exporting wood. And for years, I know that there were woods everywhere, and there was no problem. The woods were cut, and there was production, but they were cut in some clever way. There was some part of forest was cut out, and then another part, small part, there were planted trees. So when I was there as a kid and a teenager and then young adult, I've been always in the same landscape. And recently, a few years ago, the national forest in my country decided to destroy this balance. They started to earn money by, instead of protect woods, they started to earn money on woods, cutting it and leaving for desert. So it was like, wow, I was approaching some place and I couldn't recognize it. It was just desert, empty. And in the place, maybe these are these precious stones. Yes, I forgot about it. Pictures. And in this place,
the last slide.
Yeah.
This is the last slide.
Yes, this is the last. Okay, but this is the topic I'm talking about.
That's why.
Yes.
That's why. It's
That's
intentional.
Like, this is the place I have my country house. And with the community of this village, we decided to say no. And we went to the court against national forests to stop them because they were not right. And the court said, okay, let's discuss about it. And I took part in the meetings in the court as a side of this process, which was very interesting because some of the people were just protesting that you cannot cut the trees at all. And there was people from the National Forest said, come on, we have to have jobs, we have to produce goods, whatever. And I was the one who was there as designer. And instead of this quarrel, because there was a big quarrel in the court, I said, okay, I understand you. You have to deliver goods, deliver material for production. You have to earn money. Factories have to earn money. I have to earn money because of designing it. But there has to be balance kept. And they started to talk as a human being, not as fighters, but they understood it. And the final of this, of that all was that the court stopped them, and it didn't finish that they don't cut out the wood. No, they do, but the balance was brought back. So in our area, these trees, which you can see, were going to disappear. This landscape was going to disappear, and it's protected right now. But behind somewhere, they will cut it. So we agreed to make some agreement that the nature and we have to be together. And okay, we have to produce, we have to have quarries, we have to dig the stones. The difference between the stones and the trees is that when you cut the tree, you can plant another. And it takes 50 years, okay, it's time, but there are new trees. With stones, when you dig them, or I don't know how to say in English, take them out. Extract them. There is a hole.
Until the magma.
There is a question: what to do with this environment after extracting stones? But probably there will be the next stage of redesigning this environment after extracting, because you cannot just leave it. So it's our future, what to do to keep the balance and what to do with this with the environment.
We can serve different patterns. I mean, we can serve the society. We can serve, I mean, different bodies. But we have a role. And we have a kind of a responsibility. And I see our students over there, they are going to have a role. And it is going to be very challenging for themselves, as far as I see from now. I mean, so the floor is open to these roles and the responsibilities of design and designers. By the way, we are 5 people, all from academy, and we are boring. That's our nature. I mean, but if you listen to us, the things we talk are not boring and very significant issues. So we are going to keep you another 8 minutes. And while you are here with this distinguished members of these, I mean, universities from design, okay, what do you think?
Okay, if I may add something to this discussion, it would be that apart from our responsibility as designers, I think that there is also a responsibility as, I don't know the word, people that are looking with attention.
With an awareness.
With an awareness.
With an awareness,
yes.
I think.
And materials tell stories, but also craftsmanship tells stories. And materials tell different stories. I mean, wood is telling a different story. Marble and stones are telling different stories that come from prehistoric ages to the future. They're telling stories about long processes beyond human scale and beyond human time. But it's also the stories that craftsmanship is telling, and the idea
They are
of
human stories.
Yes.
Not the material stories. I mean,
The idea of making things out of wood and making things out of marble, out of stone, is a story that is being kept telling and telling because it's far beyond the human life. And I mean, it can last forever. So marble lasts forever. And stone.
storytelling, you say.
Yes.
Wow.
I think
Ilya?
that sometimes we need to see on a round world like a designer. But more than 30 years ago, I come from archaeology. I began as archaeologist and making classifications and categorization of things and looking at of morphology of things. But I have a good teacher who told me long years ago that just see Gottfried Zemper's works about design, but never from archaeologists. Nobody from archaeologists don't see on the materials, don't see on the process of its making, like designers. And it make me easy to begin to teach my students, and at the Design Academy. We speak on the same language now because I see also on the works of prehistoric works on these meanings of the process of its making, like a designer. It's a process of design that we study, but it not only classification for archaeological studies, but it's not very interesting usually. But to see as a designers on stones, on marble, on wood, on other materials, and Zemper's works might be a textbook for designers, both for archaeologists, because a lot of archaeologists don't know this book. It's a beta, and I asked them. And as for me, it's very interesting to see on the process of things creation. But I can reproduce this process to other things that was made many thousands years ago and understand not only its forms and not only the technologies, but also of its meaning. It's very important for us to find the meaning, the essence of the things around us. Thank you.
Oh, we thank you. So you have to also look and create your own meanings, I think. Manelo, you were taking notes.
Some of my notes. So I'm very interested in this concept of balance, how we can balance. But at the same time, I'm very interested in how we can teach, or how can we open the eyes to the users? Because we will design in the same way until the user wants this. But at the moment, there are also changing in the user. They maybe want more precious in terms of work of man, craftsmanship, but minimum amount of materials. This is a very interesting, this way of changing and future trajectory. So we will see what this can happen. We as a designer, for sure, and as a researcher, we stimulate. We want to improve this perspective. At the same time, there are also new new research about how material can grow, how material can help us to produce materials. Ceramic, for example, ceramics can grow with bacteria. Bacteria can produce, maybe can accelerate marble also production. But there are, I don't know which will be in the future, but at the moment we are very interesting perspective of research in this kind of in this field of biomaterials and design more than human.
Thank you. Famous last words.
I think that design is interdisciplinary profession. It's the one thing, and more interdisciplinary. And we are connected. We are meeting various specialists from different disciplines. So we are kind of connectors. So if we are conscious, we can have influence and sharing our knowledge of conscious people regarding environmental issues and other issues to others. And of course, I have no illusions that we are the most important. Sometimes these other bodies are not listening to us, but we should do that. And sometimes, and quite often it works. So we should not give up.
Thank you. Thank you. If we had time, we can talk forever. I mean, we can be boring, but I think we can also be very exciting. That's why we are here. And very happy to be sharing this stage with you. Very happy to be seeing you over there. I think we are on time. And I don't know how to close. If someone is going to close the session instead of us. There was a lady.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Tüm konuşmacılarımıza teşekkür ediyoruz. Plaketlerini takdim etmek üzere İletişim ve Etkinlikler Müdürümüz Sayın Zeynep Gülşencan'ı sahneye davet ediyorum.
Thank you.
We deserve something.
Okay. So,
Değerli konuşmacılarımız, Marble İzmir'e katkılarınız nedeniyle
Sağ
Gazi Emir
olun.
ilçemizde yangınlar sonrası
you very
ağaçlandırma
much.
çalışmaları
Thank you
yapılan
very much.
Buca Orman İşletme Şefliği Sarnıç mevkiinde adınızda fidan bağışı gerçekleştirdik. Marble Talks ile sektörün
We
gelişimine
hear.
yön verdiğiniz için tekrardan teşekkür ederiz.
Some, please, keep the line.
Okay.
Okay.
thank you.